Hello and welcome. You're watching Your Trades on ET Now with me, Snehisha. With me, as always, is Priyanka Uppal. And well, what a trading session we've seen today. Because remember, around 1 p.m., Nifty was struggling to hold on to the 25,000 mark. And take a look at where we have closed today. A fresh record high coming in for the Nifty. In all of just 8 sessions, it has taken Nifty to inch up another record high for itself. 1.9% higher, almost a 2% uptick coming in on an intraday basis on Nifty. 470 points higher is where we've shut shop for the day. But not only Nifty, Sensex too was in the spotlight today because fresh record high coming in for Sensex as well, crossed that 83,000 mark for the first time. Receded slightly, but not much to worry about on that front because another 1.8% uptick coming in for Sensex as well. And in fact, today you had all your Nifty 50 stocks that ended in the green. All the Nifty 50 sectoral indices have ended in the green today. It's clearly been a classic bull run today where the bulls have taken charge of the street. And how Hindalco, Airtel, NTPC, Shriram Finance, M&M, all of these stocks have seen stellar gains. In fact, Wipro as well, gains of more than 3% each coming in on all of these stocks, which helped the Nifty stay put today. Sectorally also very strong moves coming in. You had auto that was in focus on the back of that EV policy announced yesterday. Metals were in focus, energy, PSU Bank, IT, all of these stocks, all of these indices have also done pretty well in today's trade. But also we were expecting a good day. We did not know there's going to be a record fresh high today, but we were expecting a good day on the back of some good global moves that we saw yesterday. Our global handover was pretty strong coming in from Wall Street. You had Asia that did well, particularly Nikkei, and European markets were also rather upbeat. However, what did not do well in today's trade was Granules India, and there were concerns looming over the 6 US FDA observations, although the management did say that they were going to be collaborating with the US FDA to ensure that everything is back in place and everything works well going ahead. But that stock was deep under pressure today. Largely, this is what the market day has looked like. Fresh record high coming in for Nifty and Sensex, and not only those two, because you also had Nifty Midcap, Pharma and FMCG at record highs as well. But Priyanka, what were you spotting today?
Absolutely. In fact, these are the rare moves that what you
spotted
today. It was absolutely mind-boggling day, and then typically Nifty expiry day. But then such a move would come in. That was actually a big element of surprise. Maybe we'll see a good amount of quantum of money coming in from FIs today. That's what appears. But then a couple of news from global markets. Maybe that is also one of the reason. News coming in from China. We have ECB rate cut, which is expected today in the evening. Let's see, 25 BPS is most likely. It's already priced in. But the kind of pullback, the kind of move we have seen in global markets, especially Asian markets, talk about Nikkei, Taiwan, and even all the European markets, there was also a jump, and then that's what we saw on Indian indices also. Stocks that you've mentioned, many stocks, Bharti Airtel, this especially because they have signed an agreement with Sparkle, and that's what made it the top gainer on the Nifty today. Apart from that, metals made a comeback. Maybe the fears of China slowing down, that's what kept the entire metal index under pressure from last couple of days. That trade reversed today, at least for the expiry day. Moves like on an expiry day, it's clear. Call writing, I'm sure we'll check it with Kunal also. The kind of premiums which have jumped or changed in on the call side must have been surprising. I don't know, such a rare move. But then talking about other key headlines for the day today, of course, a couple of brokerage notes and Bajaj Housing Finance, the kind of subscription, 64x, 64 times allotment is today. And let's not forget, they have written their name in the history. This is the highest subscription ever. Before that, nearly 3.21 lakh crore of subscription, and that too for a small issue. Before that, we had high subscription figures for Coal India, IPOs like Tata Tech, and even for Premier Energy, considerably a new IPO. But then Bajaj Housing, we'll have to wait for the allotment, of course. A couple of brokerage notes. Nomura initiated on Keynes, on entire EMEA space. In fact, Keynes, this is a third note coming in less than 10 days only. Now, around about 5969, that's the target coming in on Keynes. Kalyan Jewelers also, it was up on the HSBC giving up a buy note. Target price also hiked to 810 rupees. There was a news for Yes Bank also. It's an exclusive news that RBI can reject its 51% stake sale, and that's what Yes Bank was trading with little of pressure. Let's sketch that the price exact where it closed in. But then the kind of move, all sectors came back with a pretty strong move today. 1.5% down with Yes Bank, 1.5% of cut on Yes Bank coming in. So, a couple of notes, of course. This is what kept the stocks in momentum. But then, what is in for index traders from here? Kunal Bothra joins in to talk about the index levels. Kunal, must be a rare kind of move what we saw today. Was that a nifty expiry move, but not possible because there were shortened systems. But then now the trend has completely reversed, and we're talking about long built up on Nifty and Bank Nifty both, especially heavyweights coming in, metal trade coming in, all the sectorals move coming in, and especially each sector contributed in the second half after 2 p.m. What do you have to say on the index? Would you hold your positions with a stop loss, fresh breakout that you've seen? What is it?
So, I think it was a blend of, lot many factors. So, for example, on the global front, yesterday we saw a V-shaped recovery for the US markets. Today morning, right from the word go, the Japanese indices were, leading the charge from the front with I think an 800 to 1000 plus point kind of a gain for the index. And then I think it was a matter of time that our markets would also probably get into a bit of a recovery. But I think what aided the move today in terms of the mid-session recovery or that strong move for the indices was the expiry factor, because that led to covering of short positions from the options front. Generally, what happens is during the expiry day, for the indices, the index tends to just about trade close to a strong psychological mark, and that's where option traders they generally tend to write positions. So which means that for major part of the trading session for the first half today, 25,000, 25,100 was the strike. Traders were looking at that the index would probably expire. Now they came in for a surprise, and you saw a strong bout of short covering, which led the traders to cut their put writing positions, call writing positions in that sense. So my belief is that the better part of the move got triggered on the basis of short covering for the index options front, and then that trickled into the sector performances, short covering across many individual sectors like metals, PSU banks, PSUs, etc. So we need to see that whether this move sees a follow through up move, and if we manage to protect that 25,000, 25,050 mark as a support. So keeping that as a support or a stop loss, traders can hold on to their long positions.
Okay, so hold on to long is the call coming. Kunal, before we go to your picks, I just want to understand the kind of move we've seen today, because remember a month or so ago, we were seeing some deep sell-off coming in, and the word on the street was that correction is here to stay because we've run up quite a bit. But seems like bulls are just not letting the market fall and buying every dip that comes along the way. Do you think that correction is the road ahead for us, or do you think that this rally that we've seen is going to sustain, or was it just a one-day wonder today?
See, when we look at the global scenario, we went through a very tough phase in the start of the month of August. And then post that we saw the global markets get into recovery. Many of the indices, Dow, Nikkei, etc., many of these global indices, they've managed to recover almost the entire losses which they had incurred in the first 5-10 days of the month of August. So I think we tend to mirror what happens across the globe. Now, post that what matters is that whether the global markets get back into a recovery phase yet again or not, and that could probably be dependent on the data points which is lined up ahead. We have a very crucial Fed meeting, which I think could probably act as a second round of trigger for the global indices. So my sense is that the next leg of rally for the index for our markets would probably be dependent on the triggers across the globe. If there is a positive trigger and the markets move up higher, then we should see a much more heightened up move for our indices. But if the markets get into any kind of a corrective phase on the back of that news flow, then we could be in for some bit of profit booking for our markets as well.
All right, so that means the latest CPI figures that have come in that might look like as a immunity booster for the markets right now, but the real litmus test would be next week. Kunal, in this scenario, now what would be the trades that you would recommend to our viewers?
So I'll recommend 2 buy calls. ICICI Bank is the first stock I would suggest as a buy, sticking to the large cap names. With a potential target in the near term at 1280, stop loss could be kept at 1215, and Bajaj Finance remains to be a top candidate from a breakout perspective at 7400 plus levels. So buy with a target of 7750, stop loss at 7200.
Okay, so these are the calls coming in from Kunal, ICICI Bank, Bajaj Finance, both coming in from the financial space. On that note, Kunal, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your view as well as the trades that you recommend. But let's move on from one expert to the other. And what is the next target for Nifty? Let's go across and listen into what Atul Suri of Marathon Trends PMS had to say about the target that he's penciling in and his strategy for the long and the short term as well.
My target for the Nifty is around 26,400, which is a good 6 to 7%. So at the moment, I will not be fretting too much about allocation or taking money off the table. There's a lot of angst about that. As far as the sector, I think that as I mentioned that we are at least going overweight pharma, and that would be my sectorial pick for the coming few months. And but as far as the 3 to 5 year story, I still feel that industrials will dominate. But in short term, there are a lot of places where there is undervaluation, which needs to be catching up. So I think there are going to be a lot of opportunities. I am really not too bearish on the market.
Okay, that's a word coming in from Atul Suri, who talks about the possible trends for the short and the midterm. We'll stay for a short break here. More to come on the other side. We'll get you the action on the derivative, which calls off the maximum of the call buying now. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The VIX cooled off further by nearly 3%, and that's what we saw, that the fear index cooling off and one-sided rally we saw on Nifty, Bank Nifty. Both saw a trend of long built up, and that all significantly happened after the second half of the day. The calls which were actively bought into were 25,500, 25,600, and now the support has also risen to 25,200. So look at the data which changed in just merely few hours only, wherein we were struggling to stay above 25,000, and now we jumped in for 350 odd points, and then now the higher strikes are also being bought. Sneh.
Absolutely. Well, what a day we've seen. But while the bulls overshadowed everything that happened in the market today, there was one stock that did not do well at all. In fact, it was tanking away in today's trading session, and that is Granules. Almost a 17% cut coming in just on an intraday basis on that stock. And there's actually a lot to talk about when it comes to this stock, but it has been plunging down in trade after the US FDA had issued 6 observations for its Gagillapur facility in Hyderabad, Telangana, following an inspection which was conducted recently. Now, these observations came a while ago, but the details on these observations were released today from the US FDA. So let's go across to Somit for all of the details on all of these observations.
Well, this Form 483 was issued on, in fact, the announcement had come in on Friday last week itself, and it's for the Gagillapur unit of Granules, and this is one of the most important unit for Granules, given the fact that this unit itself contributes nearly 70% of the total revenue for Granules, and nearly 47% of the US revenue comes in from this unit alone. And this unit was inspected, and 6 observations were issued by US FDA. Now we have got the Form 83, and if you read into the observations that US FDA has pointed out, typically the first observation and the third observation seems to be very important and very critical. They have raised issues on quality control and data integrity when it comes to Granules. The first observation, in fact, if you look at the entire document, it's a 26-page document, and the first observations detailing itself is for 15 page, which clearly indicates how important this observation or how critical this observation is. Now it says that equipments and utensils are not cleaned at appropriate intervals. So that's a very quality control and data integrity issue that has been pointed out. The second observation is that there is a failure to review any unexplained discrepancy. The third observation was that responsibilities and procedures applicable to the quality control unit are not in writing and fully followed. So a quality control issue has also been pointed out by US FDA. Now the observation 4 was partially redacted, so it was not pretty much clear on what US FDA was pointing out there. But the fifth observation said that the written procedures are not followed, and the sixth observation stated that the building and facilities are not maintained to ensure that products manufactured meet the quality and the purity criteria. So quite serious observations that have been pointed out by US FDA, and as per analysts, if a warning letter is also issued on this plant, then the EPS cuts could be in the range of around 10 to 15% for Granules India.
10% EPS cut likely. That's what dragged the stock to an extent of 17% today. Thanks so much, Somit, for those insights. One more stock which was trading with the pressure despite the moves in the markets today, that was Yes Bank, nearly 1.5% down, and sources suggest us that the stake sale could be delayed beyond the current financial year. Talks have stalled over the quantum of stake sale. Anurag Shah joins in with the complete details over a phone call. Anurag, over to you. Tell us more details about this.
Likely to get delayed from this financial year because the fit and proper status is not acquired by the investor. So Japanese lender SMBC is willing to acquire a 51% stake in Yes Bank, but RBI is not in condition to give 51% stake to Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, which is a Japanese lender. So this stake sale is likely to get delayed. Previously, the target was of Q4 of this financial year, means by March 2025. The target was there. By SBI also, the lender SBI, which holds around 24% stake in Yes Bank, but RBI is not giving approval for 51% ownership in Yes Bank, and the Japanese lender SMBC want to hold at least 51% in the Yes Bank.
Thanks, Anurag, for all of those details. That's the reason why Yes Bank was tanking away today. But Gaurav is also joining us with a list of all the other stocks that were big buzzers in today's trading session and had all of the market's attention today. Gaurav, take it away.
Well, yes. First, let's talk about Bharti Airtel today, because company has signed an agreement with Sparkle to expand its capacity between India and Italy. Now, with this, Airtel will take the capacity of Sparkle on cable services, and this will connect India with Italy, and this will also help Airtel to grow its network across the globe, and that is the reason why we saw some uptick in Airtel's price today. Next, let's talk about Thermax, because this company has entered into a collaboration agreement with Ceres Power for green hydrogen production manufacturing plant, which will be situated in India, and as a result, we saw some uptick in this stock as well. Next, let's talk about Nazara Tech, because this company has acquired around 16% stake in GetStand Technologies for around 18 crore rupees. GetStand Technology is a leading gaming community platform in India, and as a result, we saw some uptick in Nazara Tech as well. Next, let's talk about Kalpataru Projects, because company has got an order worth 2,774 crore rupees, and with this order, the overall order intake for this year so far has reached around 9,800 crore rupees for the company. As a result, we saw some uptick in Kalpataru Projects as well. Lastly, let's also watch out for Engineers India, because company held its AGM yesterday, and as per AGM, company has given some clear guidance as well as some updates for the investors. They say that they are expecting continuity in the healthy order book that they are receiving from the global peers. They also are expanding its reach in Middle East with several critical projects, and apart from that, they have secured around 4,680 crores worth of order in this year, and with this, the order book has touched around 11,350 crore rupees. As a result, we saw some huge uptick in this stock as well. So definitely watching out on all these counters on the back of the news flow that we have received today.
All right, thanks very much, Gaurav, for sharing all those stocks and the news behind them. Let's move further, and in a bid to ramp up India's EV presence, Centre has allocated 10,900 crores under the PM E-Drive scheme to subsidize electric two-wheelers, three-wheelers and buses. Not just that, over 70,000 chargers to be installed across states. We caught up with the likes of Atul Auto and GBM Auto to understand what this move entails for them and sector going forward.
We expect that it is going to be beneficial for entire system. I am much excited to see that it is not only benefiting the end user, but it is going to give some allocation for infra as well, in terms of upgrading the testing agency and followed by putting up public chargers. We are all set to roll out with this new scheme. That is definitely going to push or enhance the sellability of the product, as well as it will help us to gain the market share.
It has come at a very opportune time since the sector is taking off, and clearly you see that the 10,900 crores of PM E-Drive will drive it northwards. And we are going to see a huge growth, because today we are sitting at about 7% adoption of the auto industry on overall basis from two-wheeler to buses, which I think should be going to more than 15% to 20% in the next 2 to 3 years. And definitely we are targeting 30% plus by 2030. I would say it is not crutches, it's a catalyst. And it is really giving it the kind of growth momentum it needs, because I think EV sector, like in the bus segment, has already hit parity at a TCO level. But we are all very keen that the private market also gets in and multiple other segments are incubated, because in next 2-3 years, multiple other segments will also be hitting parity. So I think that's a transition period which needs support, and that's exactly what the government has addressed in this case.
Alright, that's the word coming in from some major EV players in the country. But on that note, we're completely timed out on this edition of Your Trades. Thank you so much for watching, and let's just hope that the market rally we've seen today continues for tomorrow's trading session as well.